Sure. Oh.
Yeah, leave that up there in case no one knows it.
Uh-huh.
I don't think anybody even looks up there.
For us.
Zoom in.
Well, it's, yeah.
She's even got the highlight version, so it highlights the word as you say it.
I'll be up there with the pointer. Yes, thank you.
All right, folks. I'm gonna call to order the planning commission meeting for the village of Belleville this evening. Heather, if we can have a roll call, please.
Jason Holzhausen.
Here.
Bruce Farrell.
Here.
Maria Gustinus. Richard Hamilton.
Here.
Troy Newman.
Here.
Amanda Pullen.
Here.
Di Wilkie.
I would make a motion to excuse Maria. She doesn't like to be here this evening.
Support.
We have a motion with support to excuse Maria this evening. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. We have the Pledge of Allegiance on our agenda. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
That sounds like it just happened.
We have an agenda in front of us. I know, Richard, you said we wanted to talk real quick about signs from the council.
Yeah,
Okay. Do we need to add that somewhere?
Can always do it in commissioner comments.
Perfect, we'll do it there then. Okay. Any things about the agenda, folks? No?
I make a motion to approve the agenda as printed.
support.
We have a motion with support to approve our agenda as printed. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Thank you. We have minutes from July 1st. I think so Rhonda was here to take minutes on July 1st. And at the bottom of the draft minutes, they submitted by Rhonda, but then Kim's name is.
It's on the bottom of it.
Yeah. So that would just need to be corrected. Anyone else notice anything?
Kim was supposed to be here tonight, or she was going to be here tonight, and then things.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fine, but yeah, Rhonda's name will have to get.
Yeah.
Get on those. All right, who's making that motion?
I will.
To approve our corrected minutes?
Support.
All right, we have a motion to approve our minutes from July 1st as corrected. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. We are by ourselves. No public comments. So that moves us to new business. Chatting about the capital improvement plan and making a formal recommendation, not formal, it needs to be, to council. Mr. Powers.
So thank you. So there's been a handful of items that were listed from feedback from our last planning commission meeting. A couple other changes that have been recommended by staff because there were a handful of items that there's just too many details. Wasn't, a little bit more detailed from the CIP perspective. So we had made some changes in those aspects. But yeah, I don't know if everyone's gotten a chance to go through this or not. That I would say, I would certainly look at like the third page as well as the 4th and the 5th. If you're looking at them, because, a few of the other pages, are more related to potential DPW needs, from equipment or sewer water maintenance that tend to align with the street improvements. But don't know if anyone noticed anything or wants me to kind of elaborate on any of these projects. There is a lot here. So I'd left the agenda light with the intention that there may need to be dialogue about some of these items. Because this is for the next 6 years. And this is the first time the Planning Commission is making a recommendation.
You said specifically what pages?
So I would reference the 3rd, 5th, and 6th. We're from the 3rd on, really, because the other ones are more related to like equipment and other needs. But a lot of the areas that we talked about previously related to, for example, the roundabout needs, at Grand Rapids Street, that was one. We talked about Main Street enhancements is another. Some of these are mill and fills, but yeah, I'd taken all the feedback I'd gotten from the commission and included this.
When I reviewed this after I saw it, and kind of went back to any of the notes I wrote last month, I didn't have anything else to add or that I thought was particularly lacking. Calvin Helen Bridge 29. Yeah, we've been looking for restrooms there since I was a toddler.
Mhm.
But
Since 19.
it hurt on merry-go-round. Other than that, maybe completely off topic. Do we know where DPW is looking to have the Flats at Mid-Villa path go into Wildwood Trails yet?
So that's something that I'll have to work out with the project manager of the site, because that was one of the conditions that was in place by the Planning Commission. So now that they have the 6th building up, that I'll certainly try to schedule a time with him to figure out exactly where the best place is to connect.
Where DPW.
But yeah, we
Sure,
haven't done
everything's
that
pretty
yet.
much final graded and everything else.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, pretty close.
Okay. Well, folks,
I do have a question.
yeah,
Related to the issue you were just talking about, is this 504 Main Street sewer issue in that plan? When the water's backing up and everything?
So in regards to the sewer maintenance, that there's the west main line, and then there's nothing else in here that addresses to that.
Doesn't point it out specifically.
No, it's not pointed out.
Perhaps since we know it, we ought to.
So I'll add that on here as a consideration. So then that way we can, I wouldn't have the numbers or any information to resolve that, but we can forward that to manager and DPW director to see how they could, consider that.
It can be a pretty serious issue if black mold gets into her home. That stuff's deadly. And you don't even know. You got lung issues.
that is West Main, isn't
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe then when we get feedback from the director, they can say whether this is, part of their preventive maintenance, something that should be being taken care of now, or if it's something that needs to be budgeted in the CIP. So we'll give that feedback.
it?
I just think it's, I don't know what the right term is, confusing or what, but that we are saying yay or nay to mill and fill and street repair and things like that. That doesn't make sense to me if we would look at more like, that to me is DPW stuff.
A lot of these items are DPW.
Right.
Where, like I mentioned, a lot of what we would be looking for would be potential, impacts from placemaking, beautification.
Right,
So if we seen, like, for example, one item was the Grand Rapids Roundabout,
yes,
so that's gonna potentially affect the quality of life. Those are items.
right.
Taking it to the next level rather than, as you mentioned, a
Yep.
Millenville.
Mhm.
We wouldn't have any comments. That would be more the council
Right.
regarding whether that's appropriate use of taxpayer dollars at that time.
Mhm.
Yeah, things in our purview. Yeah, again, nothing stands out. Wow. I know circumstances around new sidewalk construction, there's still, at least there's plans for some funds in there for new sidewalks whenever other things are also happening.
Did you step on your rings?
Yeah, well, yeah, see, that's.
On that side of the road, it looks really nice, we're getting there.
Yeah. When you do get those full rebuilds, that we're getting some of those things that we are specifically looking for. All right. Bruce? No, John?
The only comment I guess I would have is that once this stuff is, you preface it, I hear constantly the taxes are too high in the village, where's all this money going?
Here.
So once this kind of stuff is put together and it's sort of finalized, communication with people that live in the village about where their money is gonna go, I think is something that needs to be addressed. It seems to be something that's very lacking at this point. People just don't have a clue.
Yeah, because I
How
know.
much stuff costs or what is being done with all this money. So I don't know whether we mail something to everybody or there's gotta be some kind of report or something together so that people understand it takes a lot of money to run a village.
So yeah, we do have a financial report, but I can reach out to administration to see
Yeah,
if there's a way to
that's pretty cut and
disclose it.
dry. I've seen some other municipalities that have fairly creative ways. I've seen calendars put together with all, all that information and a picture of something that's gone on, something that's there all the time for these people, rather than just a dry economic report of some kind that they're just gonna, anyway.
We have talked about that on the council, that we need a narrative to go along with what we're doing for a 5-year plan, particularly the year we're working in. People can see it like now. We talked about that. In fact, the last meeting about having, one specific thing during the Heritage Day is set up down here with charts and things. This is what we've been doing with your money, and this is what we're planning.
That's a good start.
That was
Yeah,
the last meeting,
do something worthwhile.
but we've been going on 3 years. And I mentioned it in my first meeting.
Right.
I didn't know what was going on either, so. That's still to come, and I think it's long over.
Yeah, I do too.
I think it would be something beneficial for council to do, to sit out there, because Heritage Day, the attendees are residents, the bulk are going to be residents. And having something there, so the curious minds.
Talking about church, nobody wants to stop and talk to a politician.
You undersell yourself.
So, yeah.
All right. Any other questions, comments, concerns for Doug?
Does the village have an ordinance for, securing what appears to be an abandoned building? Are there ordinances about what has to be done to make that safe?
So there's ordinances in defining like what structures or may be blighted. Yeah, so I guess there are some, I would need more details to, be able.
There's an old brick, cement block building over on Fremont. It has some plywood covering the openings, that looks like it was built in 1950. Some kids may get in there and get hurt, it looks like to me. So just, I don't know what the address is, but it's over on Fremont.
I'll take a look at it.
Yeah, it's,
Summit Cemetery?
not quite that far. But close, yeah. I mean, it's just an old.
You're talking about the house or the structure where there's just a standalone garage.
It appears to be on somebody's property.
Yeah, but there's no house.
I'm sorry?
There's no house.
Could be.
I'll take a look at it.
I drive by that area for some reason, that thing's not very secure.
Right, so for the capital improvement plan, Doug, do you need anything formal?
No, based on the information you provided me, I would send this to the manager and see if we can get this, before the council for consideration.
All right. Doug has put together a big old memo about scope of work review for master plan updates for things, how in-depth we want to get. And I know there was Williams and Works involved, and what was the name of?
So I had reached out to McKenna as well so far.
That's right.
So in this, that had a handful of different types of scopes of work put together, because, from our joint session, there was a lot of feedback about what we could be potentially looking for, from improvements to a master plan. So as you see here, the first one, that this kind of breaks down, the scope of work with like potentially what they call a basic master plan update, anticipating like 9 to 12 months. The second option, a little bit more comprehensive. The third, including a corridor improvement plan as well. And then the fourth, you will see also that like if we're looking at, we had a sub-area plan and some moderate changes. The one thing I mentioned like beyond this report is that, we have to update or evaluate our master plan every 5 years, at least consider it. Our corridor improvement plan it's over 20 years old. Looked at like what's going on in M37, and I'm sure many of you are aware of the changes that have happened to M37. So if we ended up deciding not to include that as part of the scope of work, it's very likely that we may end up having to consider a separate plan, for, what we can do to better service M37. Just wanted to add that beyond like what's here. So I don't know if any of these options resonate with any you're possibly looking for, or if not even from that aspect, if there's things you see in one of these areas that you think should possibly like be in another, like quite frankly, a lot of these, they'll make them to suit. So if there's certain things that we think there should be more or less of, we can make those changes. But I really was hoping to get your feedback because this will help us, better alignment with, timing, budgeting, all those different aspects.
My opinion is that we don't We don't need a completely new master plan. Knowing how old the M7, the corridor plan is, that probably does need to be completely redone. We've done our best with the corridor committee and trying to not irritate the state too much. But beyond that, it just hasn't come up often in my tenure. So I'd support a plan, but incorporating a new M37 corridor plan.
Yeah, I would agree with that, because as McDonald's and all this other stuff, I mean,
Yeah,
we really need to have, be comprehensive.
That does need.
well, and there's the potential for redevelopment south where the residential units are now, since our future land use is for all that to not be residential, is having a cohesive plan for the whole stretch for the future that isn't already 20 plus.
I don't know if any of you got the opportunity to be part of the public meetings at Caledonia when they were looking at that M37 expansion there. So you can really see like how, significant this is.
Yeah, because I know the township has got this full plan for the east side of 37 that is currently corn and soybeans. In addition, I think we need to move forward with ADU text amendments. Whether that gets incorporated here or gets called out separately to move along faster than this might. But yeah, that an update to the master plan, and a new 37 corridor, but actually moving forward with allowing ADUs that, quite frankly, are already here. So that's me. How about you folks?
I'll second that.
I agree.
Are there any sub areas that might want special attention? No?
My own thing is, of course, I'm expressing, I guess it is my own
Yeah.
opinion. I think we can get, I don't think we want to get saturated with apartments. I think condos and would be more suitable, and we don't have that much land anyway. But when we look at a master plan,
That's where the push for the ADUs.
land is the issue.
Yeah.
And I think we can get saturated with apartments rather than
I don't think
ownership of properties.
what's our ratio now?
Of rentals,
Yeah, well, that we know of, or at least.
I would estimate around 30%.
Okay, so it's probably fairly on par with.
Yeah.
community.
So that's fairly on par with like what is generally, received as, good. But yeah. So this could, allowing for ADUs could potentially help to alleviate the need for additional apartment complexes.
Yeah. Like you said, we're almost out of buildable land unless we start gobbling up the township. But yeah, enabling ADUs would help.
Yeah, I'm not all that. Have my ADUs, if you agree with me, but, I guess that's what's gonna come, so. There's hordes already here, as you said.
Yeah, already. Yeah, they're already here as part of that.
Does the village actually have any kind of survey or by parcel as to what is and what's not at this point?
So we certainly, generally, what I use as a reference is that we can determine whether or not they're taking advantage of the homestead tax
Right.
deductions, but beyond that, you can see where they have their homestead listed as. The county had hired a new person, or had asked if they could help facilitate with some mapping, but we haven't received that as of yet. So I can estimate from like the numbers,
Yeah, right.
the boring standpoint, but I can't show you anything pretty to support what I'm saying.
Yeah, council, including myself, have asked that same question, that we really need to know how many rentals and where they are. Because we have no controls on rentals. There are some minimum controls that we really need on rentals.
Which is on
If you don't know where they're,
council, but
yeah, if we don't know where they're at.
So if there was any discussion about like rental registration, that wouldn't be something that'd be enforced by this board.
Yeah,
So it would be
I'm just
outside of.
clarifying for, purposes that we have talked about it and it's something that
Yeah.
we feel is needed.
So, Doug, I have a question of, whether you can answer now or not, if a update plus a 37 corridor plan, a preference in firms?
So these scopes of work, actually, each of these were done from different firms. Trying to leave it unbiased, just conversations with the firms that they had given different recommendations. It's not saying that we couldn't go back and try to see if they'll directly align with that, but their consultant, each consultant gave different quotes with different scopes of work for what they thought their needs were based on their interactions.
More details, folks?
So like that option 3, as you mentioned, it proposes, having the including of the, corridor plan along with, a second day of charrettes. I don't know if everyone's familiar with like what charrettes are, but typically it's a meeting where, sit down with individuals. What do you see? What would you like to see? Where was it? They do visioning sessions to get more community feedback. Because the previous meetings, or some of the previous feedback we'd had, or I'd received from the ordinance committee, was that we had concerns about whether or not the local demographic was being represented in the master plan, or if the survey was possibly indicative of people elsewhere in the county. So yeah, engaging with them where they're at, not solely, at event basis, but, trying to, find them in their own grounds and have dialogue.
Do you know if council has an opinion on update versus replacement?
What my intentions were is if you were good with like the third option, I would, present this to the president, see if he's okay with that being, budgeted for as part of our, the budget, and then working with them to try to bring this to fruition.
I would say as old as it is, I think everyone on the council would say they want it to be comprehensive of where we are today and what kind of feedback came from the survey. We're waiting for that.
So I did give feedback from the master plan survey.
Yeah, we've seen that. Yeah, so option, I'm not opposed to a new master plan. I just personally don't think it needs to be completely replaced, so I don't know if, depending on what the president thinks.
Well, and some of this is advantageous because, some firms may be able to assist us with the market And theoretically, that can reduce the amount of public engagement meetings we have because we can engage with them then and not survey people to death.
Yeah, I like the bullet points in option 3 under 2, the second 3-day shreds. I do think the 37 corridor plan needs to be done again since it's, from 2004. Yeah. But I guess it would be whether we think it's a full master plan rewrite or implementing those things with maybe more than a basic update, but
Yeah.
throw it out and start over.
Oh, and you were here during the last master plan update. So we initially determined the scope of work, contract with a firm, and then at that point, have those discussions to see what your thoughts are regarding what we currently have and where we need to be. Not a ton. The 2021 one is fairly in line with the previous one.
No,
Yeah.
Not much, I can tell you, not much change.
Even, like I said, even the properties that are listed as available, those individuals did not own those properties when in 2021.
Yeah.
So there's a good amount of information that it's from the last plan.
So I have a question.
Yep.
Going back to your capital improvement plan, two questions actually. It says it's from 2025 to 2031,
That's correct.
but it only shows it's to 2030. Are we missing something?
So you are not. That the reason this was done this way is I don't know why he listed this. It's just because that's the fiscal year it's until, but I can ask.
And then the next question is the land acquisition. What land, I guess it was my understanding there really wasn't any land to acquire.
So we don't know of any land. We've had that as a line item in case if there is, a need to potentially acquire a piece of property. Like I believe the last property to have been acquired would have been, 134 West Main?
There was that.
The house that,
The house
213, the
that
house that
burned
burned down and then was rebuilt. I believe that's the last piece of land that the village has acquired. At least that I'm aware of. But
There
yeah,
was a land swap over by Spring Park, wasn't there?
oh, very possible. Yeah, we've done land swaps. So typically that we've had that as a line item in case if there is a need that arises, but it's not very often that the village has acquired land. And it also, when you look at this too, that you may note like the LDFA and DDA will tend to have like land acquisition as line items too.
So, master plan stuff.
So is the third option, with making sure that the ADU tax amendments get addressed, is that in line with what everyone's thinking?
I'm okay with that.
Okay. So I will work on getting that prepared and, getting the necessary information presented to council.
Awesome. Thank you, Joe. I know our agenda has draft ordinance review on it.
Yeah. I had left that on there, but I knew that there was a good chance that this meeting may have ran long because of the items we had on there, so I didn't include any ordinances for consideration today.
Okay.
Figure we can address that at the next meeting.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
That's a text. Turn it off when I'm in church. I'll turn it off. The sign thing.
Yes.
I know the ordinance committee wanted to know what the boards or the council's thoughts were on feather signs?
Those were the signs that were specifically called out.
Right.
But,
Yeah.
but non-changeable temporary signs are, they're
banned in the village.
Right.
Yeah.
And, I can say no one of the 7 had objection to, allowing a temporary feather sign. Mainly because they are out there anyway. Church has them. Down there have them.
Yeah.
I think they would be in favor of a permit, starts, ends here, you gotta have them gone, blah, 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 you can't block view, that's along 37. The light. In other words, it wouldn't need to be majorly overhauled.
So religious or charitable organizations are exempt from the current restrictions related to temporary signs. So that may be why you're seeing, the signs noted over here. If there were changes like to the sign ordinance, temporary signs have required a sign permit. Either which way, at least that's been, part of our process.
What's the, excuse me, parameters on those temporary sign permits for?
You can have up to
number
4 a year, 30 days.
for each time.
So no more than 120 days. So if they were to have more than one at once.
As with a lot of our ordinances, who's going to enforce them?
It's very difficult.
Yeah, that's.
So why have?
So a lot of these, the
why have the
timelines,
ordinance if you're not going to enforce it?
so it's not that it's not getting enforced, but a lot of lines were designed with that intent as to where, it was more feasible to be able to enforce. Because yes, if we did issue permits for, every single type of temporary sign, it would become more challenging too.
So like I said, the first time.
Like
it
political
came up,
signs or real estate signs.
adding the feather flags just making them not banned and putting them straight into the temporary sign ordinance,
Yeah.
but is the easy thing to do. But what I fear is the enforcement of it is going to be along the lines of, well, I only want 120 days a year, it's just I want it in I want to do it in 40 different installations and not 4 times a year for a whole month because I have my sidewalk sale every other weekend.
Yeah, I wonder if this is I often wonder if, when I first heard about this, if it's a Pandora's box. Next thing you know, we got a lot of them. If you just leave it alone, I don't know if it's a major issue. It only came up a major issue from Robert Bishop about the church.
Well,
Right?
it was,
I mean,
well, that and, it's like
The farmer's market.
farmer's market.
oh,
Was having them up
Okay.
as well, so
Yeah.
that's where it started. So I don't know if because if we just drop them into the temporary sign ordinance unchanged, I don't think it's going to change the behavior of any of the people putting signs up because the parameters of those permits are, I feel, designed for those letter boards that you're gonna put up for a little while and not something you're gonna put up for a day a week, 2 days a week, every week. And so do we need to?
So would you like me to work on a couple options and potentially bring them back as part of the next month's ordinance update? Like, for example, we could leave it alone as is, or, there may be options I can look into best practices to see if, people found feasible ways to manage the regulations
Because
in a way that is more in line with what the uses are.
whatever we do, that in regulation, if it doesn't get enforced, it's moot.
Yeah.
And so why is it on the books then?
I can work on that for the next meeting.
Anything else from ordinance committee? Did we?
We didn't meet this month.
Okay.
The plan was,
In a second.
as there's not as many, we weren't anticipating as many items on the planning commission agenda to bring it to the board. So the board meetings will get canceled for lack of business.
All right, that moves us to the admin reports.
So the one thing, or two things I want to mention, one is we do have effective meeting training October 21st for anyone that's interested. It'll be at the Village Hall. It's going to be from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Let myself or staff know if anyone is interested. You're all more than welcome to come. On top of that, our November Planning Commission meeting, I don't know, is everyone available if we were to move that meeting to the Wednesday after? Because we have to reschedule that meeting as there is an election on that Tuesday. Yeah, I think Kent ISD has an election. So it's probably not going to be a large election. There will be an election. We didn't anticipate it earlier, but now, yeah, we know there's going to be one. So
I
trying to
already have
see,
it pinned in my calendar.
perfect.
Knowing it was the first Tuesday in November.
So is it possible, would Wednesday, same time, place, is that an option?
It's just the fifth.
Yep.
No.
No?
I won't be.
Jason can't do what I can't do, I can. Oh.
Nope.
So-
There's a green blob on the calendar.
So we may have to touch base later to try to figure out when is the time, if we do have some items that need to be addressed by the commission.
Yeah.
Because we're not gonna be able to have the meeting on the 4th. So, and I know people will start doing holiday planning not too long later, so I wanna make sure we're all here.
They'll be playing Christmas songs, right?
Oh, that was very
Excellent. But yeah, otherwise, everything's fairly straightforward. We're still getting decent amount of permits, even though, you know, the transitioning. I don't know if anyone has any, it's been a while, you know,
The church, is that just gonna be asphalt? Where the house?
so the church, they're looking at expanding, their driveway entrance, but they're not paving anything at this time.
I didn't think they were gonna be building anything.
Informing them if they're doing improvements, we have to look to see how many parking spaces they're permitted to have. But yeah, our last meeting was canceled, so I know it's been a little while. If anyone has any comments, questions, concerns about any of these items, we're happy to address them.
We could have that meeting in November, on Monday the
I can look, I'll have to, so I'll check with the clerk, later, because there's a lot of other boards, that meet. So making sure that there isn't a conflict with another board or committee. But can certainly look if that's an option, if Monday looks like I would work for people. So that would be the 3rd.
and we're able to communicate to the council what we did, if we did anything.
All right.
Is Monday the 3rd?
Just another question. The M37 corridor with all the cones and looks like gas pipe, is that what's going, gas?
Yep.
pipe All the way down?
So yeah, those are the areas that they were having to perform maintenance for the new connections out of it though. Yep. So is Monday the 3rd work? That sounds good for everyone at 7? Okay, so I'll send an email later to confirm that, because I do need to check the calendar.
What was in October?
Training.
Training, yep.
When?
Effective leadership,
21st.
October 21st, 6 to 9.
This training that Doug talked about is coming up. It counts towards whatever training you're supposed to be taking.
Yeah, our bylaws.
for this.
So especially if anyone's interested in being like a chair or more engaged, it's, good resource.
All right. We have Mr. Burglar's report. Any questions, comments that Doug needs to relay?
I've seen a lot of, forget it, that's that.
Okay. You're good, Bruce?
Is that on there, Bruce?
I'm not sure.
He hasn't come down there in a while, so I'm good.
All right. We are still alone. No public. Comments from up here? Welcome, Heather.
Yes.
Thank you.
Nice to see everybody. Especially Richard.
Thank you. Yeah.
I have a comment.
Sure.
Tonight's my last night, so I want to thank everybody. So I'm gonna do it.
I suppose. Not that I can do anything about it. No. I guess. All right.
Yeah, before I forget, I will not be here in October. I don't know who wants to make that note, but it's not here in
You'll
October.
be someplace in October, we hope.
I will be in Ohio for a week, so I'm not gonna be here.
That way we can-
No, actually, I get married on the 27th of this month. And I leave the following Saturday for a girls' trip, so. In my defense, he is leaving for a week-long fishing trip too, so. So, I'm going on a horse trip, he's going on a fishing trip. Great way to start marriage, right?
That might be your last trip. Oh, no.
Right?
All right, anything else, folks? I'll make the motion we adjourn.
Support.
We have a motion with support to adjourn. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That's it.
Shoot, I did forget to say we got to tour the apartments.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
how'd that
forgot
go?
Nice.
Yep.
Are they supposed to be like the end of October, I think, one's open?
to. No, I think honestly, probably in like 2 weeks.
I seen, we were on